rubbing my hands together because I've been waiting for this segment all morning. Chocolate, if you didn't know, is one of my favorite treats. But how exactly does it get its smooth texture?
Well, here to tell us all about it is Nadia Mace from the U of I, a physics professor over there, and you've got quite a spread for us here today.
It's true. So Max and I decided to do some segments on the science behind food, and I know you made delicious liquid nitrogen ice cream last week, so I thought, what can I make that's just as delicious, right? And
you got it.
We'll do chocolate, the material science of chocolate.
Yes.
Okay, so chocolate, which we all love, I have some here, it has a really interesting material science and an old history. You know, it's been around for over 4,000 years. It was first developed in Mexico. Okay. They made this bittersweet chocolate drink out of it, and now we have our delicious modern chocolates. And so if you ever go to the store, you notice that there are all these different chocolates to choose from, and the thing that really determines you know, what goes into chocolate is the ground cacao, which is ground cocoa beans, right? And those have solids and cocoa butter in them. So it's like grinding up peanut butter. You get something that's kind of buttery, right? And then in chocolate, you add both the ground cacao with the solids and butter, plus some sugar, plus more cocoa butter, and then sometimes some milk and milk fat. And then depending on how much cocoa butter you put in it, that determines really the taste and the texture of the chocolate. Wow. Okay, so if you look at these different chocolates, they kind of look very similar. Here's one that has the main ingredients are sugar, then chocolate, then cocoa butter. And this one has sugar, then cocoa butter, then chocolate. And so if you look at this ingredient, you can always already tell, even though they're dark chocolates, one of them is going to be creamier because it has more cocoa butter, and one of them is going to be a richer chocolate taste because it has chocolate as the next ingredient. So you can taste the difference. So try this one.
Okay.
Just take a bite. No problem. Try that one. That should be a little bit.
Right.
This one, that's a richer chocolate taste.
Yeah.
Okay, and then try one of these, and this one has more cocoa butter in it.
Oh man.
You don't have to eat the whole thing, but
tough job.
And then this one should be a little creamier.
Nice.
So just by the amount of cocoa butter, you can taste that difference there. Right.
Nice. Now, I see you have some molecules or maybe some atoms or something over there.
Yeah.
Is the darker the chocolate, is it more dense, or how does that work? Do you know?
So we're going to talk about this. So the other key thing to the cocoa butter is it not only affects how the chocolate tastes, but the exact crystalline form of the cocoa butter affects how the chocolate behaves and how it tastes. So cocoa butter is really crazy. It takes 5 different crystalline forms, right? And only one of those 5 makes the exact right texture and snap and shine of chocolate. So if you get any of those other crystalline forms, it doesn't work right. So a crystal, as you said, this is an example of a crystal. It's a material where the atoms are arranged in a specific structure. This is salt, just sodium color. But this is another crystal. This is graphite. You can see the atoms are arranged somewhat differently in these different crystals. And so cocoa butter also takes on 5 different crystalline forms. Only one of them does what we want for chocolate, right? And so, for example, I can take these. It also affects how it melts, right? We know chocolate's supposed to melt in your mouth and not in your hands, right?
So they say.
So they say, right? But that also depends on the amount of cocoa butter. So I can put these chocolates on a hot pad and just see how quickly they melt. And what I expect is that the ones that have more cocoa butter, I'm going to put these on for something else, the ones that have more cocoa butter will melt first. So this will take just a second, but you can kind of see that this one, which has more chocolate and less cocoa butter, is a little melty, but this one that has more cocoa butter and less chocolate is really melty, right? And then there's white chocolate over here, and white chocolate has no cocoa beans at all.
Broke my heart.
I know, but it does have cocoa butter, which is that rich, delicious thing, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's just sugar, cocoa butter, and milk. That's all there is in white chocolate.
Huh.
Then you have this dark chocolate, which has the least cocoa butter. You can see it's the least melty over here, right? Because the dark chocolate has mostly just cocoa beans. It's very, very rich in that sense.
Good.
Okay. And so when you heat these, then these crystals dissociate. Right? And then if you cool it in just the right way, then the crystals will reform the exact right way you want for chocolate, and you'll get that reversible chocolate, you'll get that chocolate back again.
Gotta get the chocolate back. Gotta get the chocolate back again.
Yeah, you gotta get the chocolate back again.
I'm gonna taste this one. I like this.
So that's milk chocolate. That has more milk, and so it melts pretty quickly, as you can see. But that's the second ingredient there is milk, and then chocolate, then cocoa butter. So that makes it that cream. I love milk chocolate.
This one really comes, the milk, you can really taste.
Yeah, you can taste the milk in there. And then this one is a Hershey's, and this has a little less cocoa butter. You can see it melt a little less than these other ones, but it adds milk to it to make it kind of creamy also.
So good. All right, Nadia, thank you so much for being here this morning. We're gonna, I think, have to keep eating those little chocolates during the commercial break.